Hi guys, my name is Lily and today I want to give you a short introduction why I have made this channel here, the Survival Lily Gardening channel. So basically I love gardening. This is one of my favorite hobbies besides the survival part, right? So I love gardening and gladly I was in the position that I grew up with gardening. So I had a mom which was very much into gardening and we grew up at the countryside. So at the countryside in Austria, it's pretty common that people have very big properties and they all have vegetables gardens because they are all kids from farmers who did that full time. So here it's completely normal that everyone has his own vegetable garden to a certain extent. So I was helping my mom doing all the gardening work, and that's how I learned the basic principles of gardening. And my mom, she was always the mastermind. Like, she knew the perfect time to sow carrots or to plant onions and tomatoes. So she was very good at it, and that's how I learned the basics. And yeah, later I grew up and when I was 14, I left home, went to a boarding school. Then later I went to study in another city, and later I went to Vienna and lived there for 10 years in a very small flat. So I couldn't really practice my gardening skills for a very long time. And I always missed the gardening part. So yeah, recently I have moved out of the city to suburbia. Now I have a little bit of a garden that I can work with. So and the first thing that I did here, besides moving in, was setting up a couple of raised beds. And now I'm ready to go and have my own small garden. So that's basically my story behind the gardening channel. And now I'm really happy that I have a garden again, because it's such a great feeling if you have your own green, you know. So living in the city for such a long time with no forest beside it, it was really hard, I have to say. So I'm a countryside person and I always will be, and gardening is one of the essentials in my life. And yeah, I feel very sorry for all of the people that live in the city and who don't have the opportunity to garden at all. So now I'm so glad that I have my own garden and I'm really passionate about it. And that's why I have decided to make this channel, because I want to share my experiences with gardening and maybe, you know, maybe motivate another person to start gardening as well. And also, you know, some people say, why should I garden? Because I can buy everything in the store. Well, that's true, okay? But I myself, I'm a very self-reliant person. At least I want to be one, yeah? So if I have the opportunity, if I have the small patch where I can grow some vegetables, then I surely will, because I think it's great. I think it's great if you can feed your own family to a certain extent. Yeah, I only have a very small garden now. Like in my childhood we had like 20 times more of the area that I have now. So this is really a small garden for me. So I'm well aware that I can't provide 100% of the vegetables to my family. Yeah, but at least I can contribute to the food that we need. Like, I estimate that I can contribute to 50% of the vegetables that we are eating right now are coming from my own garden, and the other 50% come from the shop. So I think 50% is still better than 0%, okay? And I want to be as self-reliant as possible, and that's why I am gardening. And the next reason why I am gardening is because I like to eat organic food, and here in Europe it's really, really expensive to get organic food. Like, a small salad with this size costs like €2.50 if you buy it organic. And if you eat one salad each day, that's a lot of money in the month. See, and that's the reason why I have still some salad plants here in my raised bed, because yeah, they are pretty expensive if you buy them in the store. So that's the second reason why I'm gardening. I want to save money. And yes, this is much more cheaper than buying the plants in the store, the vegetables in the store, because here one plant costs me almost nothing, because I can buy seeds. A pack of seeds costs like $2.50, and there are 30 to 50 seeds in it. So I can plant a whole lot of salad plants. And if you make your own seeds, then you don't have any cost at all. So that's pretty cool. And this really saves a lot of money. Yes, I had to spend some money in the first place to buy the wood for the raised beds, but I have built them myself. So I saved a little bit of money here. And also I had to buy some earth because the soil here is really, really bad. So I had to buy some soil, which was very expensive. Like for one bed, I have spent 100 euros of soil. But from now on, I have this compost pile over there, and it will produce me some really good soil, which I can use in future. So this was an investment that I had to make only once at the beginning. And over the time, I will not have a lot of costs anymore. I just have a lot of vegetables, which is very profitable because vegetables are expensive, especially if you want to eat organic. So and that's the next reason why I'm gardening. I like to eat organic food and I would like to know where it comes from. So I'm against having poisons in my food like pesticides or GMOs. Here I know that I don't use poison, so I know 100% for sure that this is organic. And also the transport ways from my garden to my house are only 10 meters. So it's very good for the environment to produce your own vegetables in your garden, because you don't have a lot of logistics on the way. And yeah, that's another reason. So I believe everyone should have a small garden if they have the opportunity. Of course, in the city it's not so easy. You can do a little bit of urban gardening on the balcony, but still there are so many people living in suburbia. They have enough of garden, right? So if you take a look on Google Maps and if you just, look at the properties that people have in suburbia, you will see a house and then you will see a big lawn and a swimming pool. That's it. So everyone has a swimming pool, but nobody has a vegetables garden. But if you go on Google Maps and look, for example, at the countryside here in Europe, in Switzerland, Austria, you will see that still a lot of people have vegetables garden in their gardens, because that's our tradition. So I believe that if everyone living in suburbia and the countryside would have just a little bit of a vegetables garden, that it would benefit the entire world. So I'm really a fan of this, and I hope that I can, motivate other people to start their own garden as well. And yeah, so that's the reason why I have made this YouTube channel. I think gardening is one of the most important, but also one of the most interesting topics, because there are so many vegetables that you can plant and it never stops really. So it's really a big topic and you can learn so much, it never ends. It's very interesting and also very important for us. Alright, so this was the introduction of my gardening channel, and before I end the video, I first want to show you the garden, how it looks right now. Right now we have October, and yeah, I have to say it was a pretty good year for me. I harvested a lot of tomatoes and other vegetables, but I was just a little bit too late because I was really stressed out with the moving part, and also I had to build the raised beds and I laid some stones here, and I was pretty late when I planted all of the plants. I think it was end of May. So next time I'm going to be much earlier and I'm going to be harvesting much more vegetables. Okay, back there I have 3 raised beds, and here at the front I have a couple of blueberries, and yeah, it was their first year and they have survived. They also made a couple of really nice blueberries. Here they are getting some new flowers. Okay, so there's still 1 blueberry on this shrub here. And I got a couple of weeds in here which I have to rip out. I'm going to need that anyway for my compost pile. And here I have my eggplant. there's one last eggplant on the plant itself, and it's still flowering. I don't know if you can see this, but it still has flowers. Caraway didn't go into seeds because I was too late, so next time I'm going to plant it earlier. And this is salsify. I have to dig this up in winter time. And yeah, radishes are already gone. I have some onions here, Welsh onion. Then tomatoes were pretty good, but when I was gone in Africa, they broke down. So when I came back from Africa, I had to tie them up on these sticks here. The tomato harvest was pretty good, but actually they don't like the rain. So after a while they have, you know, produced very, how should I say, it's not foul. Yeah, some of the tomatoes were foul because of the rain. And that is why I'm now building a greenhouse, and I am going to move the tomatoes into the greenhouse because they really need a roof and they don't like water on their leaves. And this was the third raised bed. Here you can still see the zucchini plant. I think it's still producing. This one plant here gave me so many zucchinis, I couldn't eat them all, so I had to give away a couple of zucchinis to the neighbor. And here's some salad that I have under this plastic here. It's still growing, so that's a good sign. Here I have a little bit of spinach left. Yeah, and here I have a construction site. This is a site where I'm going to set up a greenhouse in a very short period of time. I already ordered one, but now I'm just waiting for the greenhouse. And here I have my compost pile. And yeah, the second one is empty because I already emptied the earth out of the compost pile, which is this one here. So I got a really good earth out of the compost pile, and that's important. You need a lot of compost, which you're going to put into your raised beds every year, because this is your fertilizer. So now I have to water my salad plants because they don't really get a lot of rain underneath the plastic here. This is what I do like every 3 days. And I hope that I can still harvest these salads full size before winter time. And right now it's pretty warm. Today we have the 10th of October and we have like 17 degrees Celsius, so that's pretty warm. And actually it's not normal that it's so warm this time of the year in Austria. Normally it should be much colder. And yeah, actually I have to say, I have visited my mom's place 2 days ago, and you know, she was giving me some onions from the garden because I didn't have any this year. And then I noticed that there were leaves, like new leaves on the cherry tree and the walnut tree. So usually this time of the year they shouldn't have leaves anymore, and they didn't have any leaves 2 weeks ago, but now the buds were opening again and now they are producing leaves again. And that really shocked me because they should not, because it's winter time, right? But it's so warm, and I mean it's the 10th of October and I can sit here with a t-shirt. That's really not normal. So maybe I should add another reason why gardening is important, because yeah, the weather is getting crazy, you know? It's so warm here and the plants, they don't know what to do. They are making new leaves in October. That's crazy. So in order to, you know, be able to provide your family with food, like, do you really want to give away the responsibility to some other person to provide you with food? And especially in these times when the climate is acting up like this, it's crazy, right? So yeah, I want to have my own responsibility for the food that I'm eating, and you never know what happens, right? So here in Austria we have endured a lot of droughts now, but also a lot of floodings in the same year. We had floodings, really long floodings, and also prolonged drought. And yeah, what if there is a food shortage, which can happen, you know? How do you want to feed your family? So that's what I'm thinking also. It's not only because I want to be self-reliant, but also I want to have some food in an emergency situation. And when I was gone in Africa, we had a very long drought, and the peas that I had here, besides my corn, like when I came back, they were all dead. And there's something else that I want to show you. This here is the corn that I harvested from my 4 corn plants that I had over there. And look at this. It's really small. Normally it should be this big. Look at this. And that's because we had a drought for 3 weeks and I was not here. I could not water my garden. And this is what happens on the field. So this is the corn that I got from my 4 corn plants. And normally I should get like 8 of these with this size. So if I have a problem here in my garden, then other farmers do have a problem as well. And here at least I can water my plants. Here in Austria and Europe we don't have water irrigation on the fields. And yeah, I think it's going to be really hard for the farmers to provide us with food in the next years. With the climate change, with the crazy weather, sometimes we have droughts, sometimes we have floodings, sometimes you need the water, sometimes you have too much water. So it's not going to be easy to feed the population anymore, especially with a population that's growing, you know? So that's it, guys. That's what you get when you don't attend your garden. Alright folks, so this was just a short introduction of my channel, and I can't wait for the greenhouse. It should get here any day now, and the next video is going to be how I set up the greenhouse. So that's going to be a really interesting video. So I want to thank you guys for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe to this channel, and I will post a video every Wednesday, so stay tuned.